welcome to an episode of 5 Minutes with Jesus and Jesse. So I was doing my Bible study, which I'm doing with a group of my girlfriends, which I highly encourage you to do if you have not done a Bible study with your besties. It will bring you that much closer as you guys grow closer to God together. So I encourage that so much. And one of my favorites of all time, Angie Smith, I love her. So if you're new to the Bible, or even if you're not new to the Bible and you just want to learn more about it, or maybe have things connected in a different way, she has a Bible study called Seamless, which is amazing. It goes through like the Bible being one seamless story. It is so good. And so my girlfriends and I just started Matchless, which is also by Angie Smith, and it is amazing so far. And so if I had to recommend one Bible study, and I've done several, to anybody at any level in their spiritual walk, go find Angie Smith. Do one of hers, please, because they are so good. Anyways, so I was working on my Bible study today, and I just had one of those moments that just kind of like lifted off the pages for me. So I'm reading in Matchless by Angie Smith. I'm on page 33, and I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. So we are going through the Old Testament, and we are at the part where the Israelites have been delivered from Egypt. They're making their way through, and we're at the part where the Israelites finally get to go into the Promised Land. They get to go into Canaan, and I'm probably going to butcher all of these names, so it's fine. Okay, so the Israelites finally move into Canaan, and get this, God tells them to get rid of the people who have been living there. Get rid of, as in kill them. Shockingly, the Israelites don't listen to God and decide it would be fine to leave the Canaanites happily living in the land. I'm sure they figured there will be enough milk and honey to go around. Coexist, you guys. No way that could go wrong. But what they don't understand is that letting the Canaanites be next door will lead them away from God, and they start picking up some bad habits from their neighbors and trying to chart their own course. God sends a bunch of people, think foreign armies, to try and get the Israelites in line and warn them about what is going to happen if they keep going their own way. So they cry uncle and ask God for help. And this is when God sends some folks called judges to try and get them back on track spiritually. So the Israelites turn things around until they don't. And they fall back into the old patterns of sin. And we see the same cycle of sin and defeat here that we talk about. And it gets pretty predictable. It's the cycle of sin and military defeat. Okay, so this really stood out to me today because I'm reading this, and here's what God said. They moved into the Promised Land, and God says, get rid of all the people living there. They're going to lead you away from me. And they're like, it's really not that bad. Maybe we'll just let them hang out. We'll ignore them. Don't worry, it won't affect us. And it does. It does affect them. It does lead them away from God. But this, I was like, yes, this is it. How many times in your life are you reading something or watching something or listening to music or a podcast or whatever it may be, gossip at work, or you're taking part of it, fill in the blank. You're doing something and you're like, but wait, it won't affect me because I'm a Christian and I have a very strong faith walk and et cetera, et cetera. Don't worry, God, I got this. I can control myself. It's literally just like an alcoholic being around friends who are drinking. Like, it's not going to go well. So God said, don't do that. It's going to lead you away from me. And we continue to do that. So how many times have you been in this situation and you're convicted of it? I shouldn't be drinking. I shouldn't be reading this. I shouldn't be watching this inappropriate movie. I shouldn't be listening to these crazy murder podcasts because they lead me down a dark hole. But I still do it, and I say, oh, no. It's okay, God. It's not going to lead me away from you. But what does it do every single time? It leads you right away from him. And they start picking up bad habits, and they start trying to chart their own course. And, it's funny, too, because if you've ever read this story, you look at the Israelites, this group of people who had such a connection with God as they were being led out of Egypt. God led them by day and by night. He was with them all the time. And they still let things come in between them and God. And you look at them in scripture and you think, those idiots, how could they ever not trust him fully because of everything that he's done and everything that they've witnessed with their own eyes in their own lifetime? And so we read that and we think, what are you doing? But we do the same thing. God gave us this entire Bible. He gives us this entire book of all of these examples, not to mention all of your own personal examples or your friends' examples or anything else that may be going on where you have personally witnessed God touch your life and be doing something great in your life or somebody else's in real time. And we still are the Israelites. We're still the idiots who keep putting other things in front of God and saying, God, it's okay. I can control myself. I can listen to this garbage music and then still praise you on Sunday. And that's not going to affect me. And I can still watch this trash TV show and then come do my devotional and everything's kosher. God is saying every time you do that, it is leading you away from me and you're picking up bad habits. You can't coexist. You can't do both. When you allow these things in, they start distorting your mind. And there's so many scriptures about protecting your mind and protecting your heart from things of the world and pushing those away. And this is why. So you will fall back into the same pattern of sin. The Israelites did it. People did it after them. People are still doing it now. And we look at the Israelites and say, you guys are idiots. But who's really the idiot? Who really is the idiot? If you have every example in that Bible and your own personal testimony, and you're still doing the same stuff. So I challenge you, what you're watching, listening to, reading, all of those things, do they glorify God? And you may think that's extreme, but if you were on the fence, my friend, that's going to sway you one way or the other. So please go evaluate.